we are on Earth, and the Earth is just one planet in the galaxy. You can compare that to an ant on the patio in this backyard. The ant doesn't know that there's more than the patio. He just keeps walking. He doesn't know he's just part of lots of worlds. And the human race is sort of like that. After they discovered what's up there, they know they're only a little part of this huge galaxy. I think there probably are many different kinds of cells and organisms. Some may not be visible, some may not have been discovered, and some may be on places we can't go. And they all might have the same perspective as we do on this, that there might be others.
Yeah. Gotta find yourself in this world. Do that, you'll understand yourself better, and you'll understand this world better. Every day is another journey.
Yahoo! Welcome, my beautiful brothers and sisters, to the Aquarian Adepts, my platform to become your spiritual server. And welcome to your weekly astrological report for today, April the 30th, through Sunday, May the 6th of 2018. Thank you so much for joining me. And this is a very interesting week. I like to think of this week as almost like a tale of two stories. It seems like it's really split between the first half of the week, and then we get to Thursday, and then it's the second half of the week. And Thursday's kind of like this weird day where it's almost like an intermission period, and then, we go into the final half of the week. So it's a very interesting week, and I would say this is a week of reconfiguring really where we are in life and just kind of realigning ourselves back to our purpose, if you feel like we might have gone off our purpose, or really just coming more to terms with really where we are in life and where we want to go. There aren't a lot of major aspects this week happening between a lot of the major planets. In fact, most of the aspects this week are really based off of what the moon is doing. Not that there's not anything else happening between the other planets, where the moon is really a key component this week to what you're going to be feeling and really the energies that you're going to be exposed to. As you all know, we just came off of that full moon in Scorpio, which was really powerful. I definitely can attest to this. I am a Scorpio. I have my Sun, my Pluto, and my Mars there, albeit they're in the 20s. This full moon was at 9 degrees. So it was kind of like, it was a full moon that definitely had this depth to it, and it had this wisdom that it carried with it. But since it was at the earlier stages of Scorpio, it wasn't as intense as it could have been, which is kind of funny because it was really intense. But it was just enough to really allow us to really abolish any type of fears that we have, to get rid of any type of negative patterns that we have, and to really come more into this feeling of, I am allowed to have these deeper desires, and I'm allowed to manifest these desires. We have to consider that this was along the axis of Taurus, which is fixed earth, and then Scorpio, which is fixed water. So we all have been feeling a certain way for such a long time, and with this full moon, it kind of bubbled to the surface. And now we are faced with this, it's not really a dilemma, I want to say it was an obstacle and a challenge to overcome, of really truly expressing what we really want and being okay with manifesting it, and not really allowing any type of outside thoughts and beliefs and dogmas to cloud our judgment and to cloud our actions and to hold us back from really moving forward. But only you can really hold you back. These external influences are external. You have the power within you. I believe that this full moon of Scorpio was giving power back to every individual in some area in their life. It was giving the power back by providing that depth of information. But now that we have come into Monday, after the full moon, we have a bit of a hangover because I could definitely say that I slept in a little bit more this morning, more than usual. But it's also kind of just this interesting like energy where it's almost kind of quiet a bit. It's like when you have such an intense full moon and you have all this energy, it comes into Monday and things kind of quiet down a little bit. But at the same time, as the week progresses, it just every day kind of builds off the next one. And then we get to Thursday, which is like this intermission period. And then you get to part 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of go through and let you know the transits of the week. And then I'm going to go back and discuss and even show you just what's really happening and what you can expect to experience every day. Then I'll draw cards at the end for the entire collective. So on Monday, the 30th today, we have a couple of things that are happening. The main thing is that we have the moon conjuncting Jupiter at 19 degrees. We also have the sun, which will be at 10 degrees of Taurus, squaring the north and the south node. The north node is in Leo, and the south node is in Aquarius. So we'll be dealing with that square at the same time as this conjunction. We also have the moon, which will, after coming off its conjunction to Jupiter, it will sextile Pluto at 21 degrees, as well as Mars at 23 degrees. So we have a couple of sextiles in the conjunction that the moon's going to be making. And Monday's really a day where I kind of describe as a bit relaxed. At the same time, you do have a bit of the strained aspect with the sun squaring the node, but this is really calling us back into what we truly value and how's that in line with our destiny and in our heart, and how it's how potentially our value system is influenced by the masses. That's considering the south node and Aquarius aspect. But the moon is going to be making mostly harmonious aspects to the planets that it has a relationship with today. So Monday the 30th is a day where it's like we are definitely becoming more okay with who we are. On Tuesday, May 1st, we have the moon entering Sagittarius, so we're going to get some fire energy here. And the moon will also, as soon as it moves into Sagittarius, will be trining Chiron in Aries, which is still at the 0 degree point. Now, Tuesday is going to be a day that I describe as pretty mystical and maybe even a little surreal, mainly because the moon coming off of this really intense full moon in Scorpio, it moves into Sagittarius, which kind of wants to make light of things. Whereas Scorpio was kind of heavy, the moon entering Sagittarius is going to want to make things a little bit lighter, a little more playful and joyful, hopeful even. But when it trines over to Chiron, even though this is a harmonious aspect, it's still going to be tugging on these deeper wounds that we have when it comes to relating to ourself, when it comes to healing the self, right? On Wednesday, May 2nd, we have a couple interesting things. We have the moon, which will be opposing Gemini at 9 degrees. Venus in Gemini at 9 degrees. So we have our emotions, which are going to be more fixated on our belief structure, philosophy, higher education, and kind of like, religion and our sense of spirituality almost in a sense. While the moon and our emotions are going to be focused on that, Venus in Gemini is going to be focused on people. So we're going to have this weird opposition between our emotions and people today, and whether or not these things kind of align, and whether or not we can really find value in other people, even if they might have different beliefs than us. So Wednesday might be a day where there might be some potential disagreements between others that don't have the same beliefs, and you want to just really make sure that you take the time on Wednesday to kind of take special care and to realize that we are all different. We are all different shades of, this one beautiful cosmos. We all are connected, but we all do have our different shades, and we all have our different various experiences that contribute to who we are right now. At the same time that this opposition is happening, we do have Venus making a quincunx over to Saturn retrograde. A quincunx is an aspect where planets are about 150 degrees apart, so it's almost opposing. So these planets typically don't really see eye to eye, they don't necessarily understand each other, and this is sort of like an area where we definitely need more compromise. And as far as like, they're not really butting heads, they're not necessarily opposing each other, they're kind of like, it's kind of a little bit of apprehension. That's what I like to describe a quincunx as. It's more apprehension. It's a little bit of an anxious energy to it. With Venus, while it's opposing, the moon in Sagittarius, it's going to be making this quincunx over to Saturn. So even then, Saturn retrograde is going to be reminding us, is it really going to contribute to, a more secure future? Is it really going to be contributing to, the long haul? We're going to come into this realization on Wednesday, or this feeling of wondering whether or not the people we surround ourselves with are going to kind of contribute to the long haul of our dreams and passions and where we want to go. Venus will also sextile the north node and trine the south node all at the same time. So the Venus is going to be a very key component on Wednesday as far as what's happening. The moon will also come into a square with Pisces at 15 degrees, and it will also trine Mercury in Aries at the same time at 15 degrees. So it's interesting how we have the moon making these aspects to Neptune, which rules our spirituality and this kind of mystical energy, and Mercury, which is going forward now, and it's almost out of its shadow period, which means that it's really kind of thirsting for this new information, this new knowledge, and a new thought pattern. It's really going for that. So it's interesting how the moon is going to be caught between this alpha and omega, between Aries energy, this fiery cardinal wanting to push things forward energy, at the same time dealing with the square to Pisces. And while since it's going to be in Sagittarius, it's really going to be like our belief structures. Are they really promoting our value? Are they really promoting our this want to move forward? They're really promoting this life that we really want to create that is in line with our inherent true abundance. The moon's going to be trying Mercury, and Mercury's going to just want to try and get things done and try to move things forward. But then the moon's going to come with the square to Neptune, and Neptune's going to be like, it's going to kind of throw an interesting wrench in there. It might make things a little surreal. It might be like, well, you might want to consider this. Maybe the beliefs that you have created for yourself are self-limiting. It's going to require some tweaks and some turns to really get things to mold on Wednesday. So the first half of the week is really kind of this setup to where we are really examining more our sense of self-worth, and we are really trying to deal with the heaviness that the full moon in Scorpio brought, but also to really begin to explore just how we can bring this newer sense of self-worth and self-value forward. Then we get to Thursday, the middle of the week, and this is the day where Mercury exits shadow period. It retrograded at 16 degrees, and this is going to be the day where Mercury officially moves to 17 degrees of Aries, and this will be around 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is massive because now that Mercury is out of shadow period, and it doesn't have to review this whole recalibration of our thought process as it comes to our personality and our ego. Now I can finally think new thoughts. Now I can finally really move forward with new communication with the self. You have to remember that Uranus, of course, has come over this area. The Sun has come over this area. And Venus has come over this area. So now it's going to begin to catch up to all the information that the Sun, Uranus, and Venus have, left since then. The Moon will trine Uranus on this day at 29 degrees as it's coming to the edge of Sagittarius, which adds a little bit even more edge to this need to push things forward, right? And then the moon is also going to enter Capricorn by the end of Thursday. On Friday, we have the moon conjuncting Saturn retrograde at 8 degrees, and we also have the moon making a quincunx over to Venus and Gemini at 12 degrees. And then we have, on Cinco de Mayo, we have the moon trining the sun at 14 degrees. It's also going to sextile Jupiter later in the day at 18 degrees and square Mercury at 19 degrees. And it will conjunct Pluto at 21 degrees. All the while Mercury is quincunxing Jupiter. And then it ends on Sunday, which is really just kind of like the stamp on this play. I like to think of this week almost like a play. And really this week what you want to do is you don't necessarily want to get too caught up in the details. This is almost like you wanted to sit back and kind of watch the movie of your life, eat some popcorn, and just see how this week moves, because it's going to really be a tale of 2 weeks. On Sunday, May 6th, we have the moon, which is going to conjunct Mars. We have the sun sextiling Neptune, bringing a mystical element. The moon is going to enter Aquarius, which brings even a more of this innovative narrative, and it even is a little mystical. It rules the star card, so it's going to be a very interesting Sunday. I think Sunday is actually going to be probably one of the holier days of the week. And then Chiron is also going to finally shift to 1 degrees of Aries on at around 11:50 p.m. So right at the tail end of the day, Chiron will have shifted to 1 degree. So what does all this mean? Well, let's hop on over to the chart, to the wheel, and I can show you guys more in detail what this week is really going to bring, and I can just show you guys kind of in real time what is going to be happening and what you can expect. Okay, so here we have April 30th. This is around 12 p.m. Right now, as am making this video, it's 4:02 p.m. So if I were to actually just go to the current transits, we can already see that the moon is conjuncting Jupiter. I guess technically kind of coming off of the conjunction. Soon to be coming into this sextile, as you can see here. So what does this mean? Well, the moon coming off of this, coming off of the full moon phase while it was, at 9 degrees of Scorpio, conjuncting Jupiter is really showing us how we really can expand upon these desires and how we really can expand upon this power that was bestowed upon every single one of us during the time of the full moon. It's going to really ask our emotions to really, it's going to be a very cleansing time, and it's going to really ask us to kind of dive deep within ourselves and to really find a deepening sense of self-worth and self-value and how we can expand upon that, okay? The moon, like I said, rules emotions, past life, and subtle energies. So, and when it's conjuncting Jupiter, Jupiter is really anything but subtle, right? It's kind of in your face. It's the partier, it's the adventurer. It wants to expand things, good luck and fortune. So this is almost going to be like a nice little gift where emotionally we're going to feel expanded. We're going to feel like we can take on more of life. We feel like that we can actually succeed in what we want to bring forward, right? And it's a very beautiful and healing energy that we'll be dealing with. At the same time, you can see that the sun is going to be squaring the nodes. The south node is not listed here, but it's going to be squaring the nodes. So the sun is going to be we're really going to be focusing in on how does our value reflect our destiny and where we're going. And are we actually, living from our heart space? Are we truly passionate? Do we feel that roar, that fiery passion within us to really manifest these deeper desires, these deeper wants? And do we have the courage to let go of anything that doesn't really serve us? We have to consider the South Node in Aquarius is speaking to perhaps these values that the masses hold, that the population holds, but are they really in line with what we have learned off of this full moon about our confidence, our value, where we're going, what are we planting, what are we manifesting? Is it from the heart space? Or is it what the masses want us to do? And there's nothing necessarily, the South Node Aquarius isn't necessarily all bad. I think this is also going to be a time where we're really finding our unique tribe. I think that's sort of what this is about too. Coming together, we're finding our unique tribe, okay? Now, if I move this forward, just hour by hour, we see that the moon will come into a sextile with Pluto. Further bringing home, since Pluto is the natural ruler of Scorpio, the moon coming off of Jupiter is really going to be speaking to Pluto about how we can really transform our this current reality and our sense of order based off of this emotional expansion that we have received. Even though the moon is now officially shifting to its new moon phase, it's almost full. So it's like Pluto is really going to be like, okay, so these I would like to say almost like sometimes our emotions can hold us back, even though you want to follow your emotions and utilize the emotional guidance system. Pluto is also going to reminding the moon, even though this is a sextile and it's a harmonious relationship, that sometimes if we get too caught up in our emotions, that we really don't allow the transformation to happen, that we really can kind of stifle ourselves. So the moon's just going to be kind of reminded gently by Pluto, since it is retrograde, to like, while you have received this expansion and this really this green light go ahead to really move forward into new territory and really manifest your value from that space, remember that, everything, there's a death and rebirth to everything. Remember that while you may indeed feel like the phoenix rising as the moon comes off of Jupiter, that there is still more to grow. There's still more to learn. And no matter how, settled things might get, things can always get shaken up. So it's reminding us to have the emotional courage to move things forward, but also have the emotional courage to let go of things that may or may not, really benefit us in the long haul. So then it's also, as I move this forward, I continue to move forward, and this is really getting close to a Tuesday aspect, but we do see that it's also sextile Mars, which is coming off the conjunction to Pluto, which Mars is a traditional ruler of Scorpio too. So after we get this realization of really how we have transformed emotionally, and how that contributes to the long haul, now we're going to start to feel what actions we can take based off of this transformation and based off of this expansion that Jupiter has given our emotional state, so we really can accommodate this life that we are trying to manifest with the sun being in Taurus. Okay, now I'm going to move this ahead more as the moon enters Sagittarius. Hope you like the vibes in the background. And then on May 1st, we have around noon, we're going to have a noon Eastern Standard Time, mind you. We're going to have the moon entering Sagittarius and then making this trine over to Aries. So really, it's going to be kind of like the morning, any type of dreams that you have, honestly, going from Monday into Tuesday, they're really going to be, I want to say it's going to be healing in nature, and then upon going into the next day, you're really going to have this kind of renewed sense of hope and joy, because that's what the moon in Sagittarius does. It's this feeling of hope and joy, and just kind of trusting that things are going to move in the right direction. You're going to want to feel more positive. So, whereas Monday might be a little emotional heavy, but not as heavy because we're coming off the full moon. It's also going to be just kind of like a day of processing, whereas you come into Tuesday and it's going to be a little bit lighter. But we have to consider that this trine here that it's making to Chiron and Aries, still at 0 degrees, there's a bit of edginess here to where it's like the moon is really going to be setting off this new emotional awareness of who we are becoming, and really how we can begin to really heal ourselves and what actions we can take to really heal ourselves. Because this is Aries energy, so it's talking about actions that we take. Sagittarius is talking about our beliefs, so we really have to examine our beliefs on this day and really feel whether or not these beliefs contribute to the healing of our persona. Okay? Now, as I move this forward, that's really the only thing that's happening on Tuesday. I mean, the moon will, as it continues to move about, as you can see, this is getting towards the evening, and it's coming into the opposition with Venus, and it's coming into a trine with the North Node. But as I move this about, now we're on May 2nd, okay? And as you can see, we're going to have here, right here. So we're going to have the moon opposing Gemini right here. This whole, on Wednesday the 2nd, this is really going to be speaking to, there are going to be certain people that you're going to be attracting into your life, and you're going to be probably talking about your beliefs, and you might come across people that might kind of get you down. I only say that based off of the fact that, Venus is coming off of this quincunx to Saturn. and Saturn's a bit harsh. So anybody who's not really putting in the work to really innovate how they move things forward, if anyone who's not putting in the work to really manifest, you're going to encounter people that don't really get it. They're not going to really see the hope that you see. If you really take care of yourself, you also have to consider that Venus will be coming into this aspect with the North Node, meaning that for those who are really living in their heart space, for those who are really living their passion and their joy every day, whether you do it for a living or whether you're just integrating it into whatever time you need to, I think we also have to consider that. I know there are a lot of people that do what they love to do for a living, but there are a lot of people who don't, such as myself. But that being said, I make sure every day to do something in relation to that. So I have that energy in my everyday, and I have that as I, put it one step in front of the other. I move closer and closer and closer every day to living that reality every single day. And that's really what you want to do. So if you encounter people that haven't been putting in the work and haven't been putting in the time, because Saturn does rule time as well, if they haven't really been putting in the time to really manifest this, Gemini, it's the twins, so it's going to be a reflection. They're going to see this reflection in their external reality that shows that they haven't been putting in the time to really work out their passions. We also have to consider that this King Kunst that's happened, that Venus is coming off here. It's talking about a cardinal Earth, and it's also talking about mutable air. So really, what are you communicating to yourself and to other people? And are they aligned with beliefs that uphold you, that uphold your abundance, that uphold your value? Okay. I'll move this forward. And then now we have the trine that the moon will be making over to the North Node, further cementing this need to live in our heart space and to really live our passion, our joy, what really ignites us, what sets our soul on fire, right? Okay? I had to consider that the moon also will be sextiling the South Node. So this is what I mean by, you're really going to find your tribe. Anyone who's really living in their heart space is not afraid to be their unique, ingenuitive self. Those are the people that you really want to pay attention to. And we have to consider that, Venus will be coming into a trine with the South Node as well. So as I move this forward, May 2nd. So bam, it's actually happening at 9 degrees. So you have Venus making the sextile over to the North Node, and it's also going to be trining the South Node in Aquarius, further cementing this need to really, your vibe attracts your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. That just kind of came to me, and that's just ringing. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Are you going to be attracting people that aren't living in their heart, that are afraid to do the work, that almost see it as a drag? Are you going to be attracting Shigemarus? Like from Naruto, what a drag. This is such a drag. Oh, what a drag. Even though Shikamaru's low-key the GOAT. But are you going to be attracting people that are life is such a drag? Oh my goodness. People really just caught up in that. Are you going to be attracting people that are looking at the clock, just waiting for time to go past because they're at a job that they don't like? Or are you going to be vibrating on this hope, this joy and trust that everything's working out because you are attracting your beautiful tribe? You are living from your heart space and you are moving things forward and really going to attract that inherent abundance. So I move the mood forward. We're also going to see that there's going to be a bit of a surrealism that is brought with this day as the moon squares Neptune. So even so, at the first part of the day, you might have confrontations with other people that don't necessarily understand your beliefs, and they might try and tell you to get real. Well, look at this. We have this square to Neptune, which further makes things even more delusional. And then people might try and tell you that you are delusional. you might be delusional, but you also might just be in your imagination. You might be like, can't you see all of this beautiful magic around us? What, like, come on, it's so much magic. Not only that, but we have the trine right here to Mercury, okay? Which is really setting us up to really adopt a new thought pattern that really embraces who we are and our unique self. Embracing beliefs, and embracing this belief in ourselves and really communicating that to us. And while we do have this square to Neptune, which makes things, pretty interesting, it's going to make things, a little surreal, but there might be really, based off of your belief in yourself, that you might have very interesting synchronicities this day that's reflecting, who you are becoming, and the tribe that you're overall attracting into your life. Okay. As I move this forward, we come into May 3rd. Alright? As we come into May 3rd, this is really the big thing. As you can see, now Mercury is at 16 degrees of Aries, at the spot that it retrograded. It actually retrograded pretty close to 17 degrees. So as I move this forward, you're going to see that really the main thing that happens today is as the day progresses, we're kind of ruminating off what happened the day before, kind of just taking it all in. So now the moon is beginning to trine Uranus. And as it begins to trine Uranus, look at that. Bam. Mercury has officially moved to 17 degrees. It's at 7:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So around 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, you can do the math based off where you are. Mercury is going to exit shadow period, and the moon will be trining over to Uranus. It will start its trine over to Uranus. This is why I say Thursday is a bit of an intermission. In fact, I would almost say that the moment that Mercury exits shadow and then the moon trines Uranus, this is actually pretty much the moment where the first half of the week, if you were to think of it as a play, stops. Because this is like a climactic point. Why is this an edge? Because we have edge here at 29 degrees with Uranus, which is really innovating our character down to the last bit. And we have the moon at the edge of Sagittarius, conjuncting the galactic center point. So really, it's like the entire cosmos is watching this as if it's some grand play, and it's hitting this climactic point where the writer is like, okay, we need an intermission. Why? Because we're about to get into Capricorn. So things are about to get real again. We're about to feel the realness of what's going on and even feel the direction of where we're heading to. Because as I move this forward, and the moon now is trining Uranus, by the end of the day, it enters into Capricorn. And bam. And no, I'm not even kidding you guys. As I said that, I heard a door outside my apartment from a car shut. Like literally, this is why this week is really split between Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is intermission day, and then it's split into Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Because now we're getting to this point where Mercury's out of shadow, it's happy, it's moving forward, it's communicating new ideas, new thoughts about the self. And now the moon is entering into Sagittarius, which is debilitated here, because now it's like, there's not really a time to really be too much in our emotions. It's really a time to really start to think about our direction and where we really are moving forward. Whereas the first half of the week, we're really feeling out who we are, what we have become, and how we can move forward. Now the second half of the week is beginning to take actions based off of what we learned the first half of the week. Okay? Now, as I move this forward, on Star Wars Day, on Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, we have the moon conjuncting Saturn. Our emotions conjuncting Saturn. This is like the inner baby. This is like our inner child in a way, wanting a lollipop. But Saturn's like, is that lollipop good for your health? Is that lollipop going to contribute to the furthering of your career, your life, your legacy? Is that lollipop really going to take you to the next level? And you're just going to be like, I want this lollipop though. It tastes so good. Why do I have to think about all this stuff? Well, we have to consider the fact that Mercury is at this point is at 18 degrees, so it's really actually moving things forward. We do have to think about these things now. So May the 4th is going to be kind of this interesting day where we are still processing these emotions that we've had from the full moon, but now it's like we're having to really recognize how to move things forward. Since Saturn's going to be retrograde here, it's kind of a bit of a relief, but also at the same time, it's like, well, dang, now I really do have to do the work. If I really am having this deepening sense of self-worth and self-value, and if I am creating this belief structure in myself that I really can manifest my abundance, I actually have to get down and do the work. And I have to think differently now because, Mercury has moved out of Aries, so we have to think differently. We have to communicate differently with ourselves and other people, because this is ego, but it's talking about the self. We really have to take actions that communicate back to ourselves that we really do understand where we're going. And we really do understand how to manifest this abundance. Okay? Now, at the same time that this is happening, we have, I'll move this forward. Excuse me. So as the day progresses, and we have all these energies in Capricorn, by the end of the day, the moon is going to make this king kunks over to Venus and Gemini. So as it came over, Saturn, and as it passes, now it's going to make this interesting aspect to Venus and Gemini, which is really going to once again reveal back to you people, and this is Capricorn, so this is a very earthly energy. It's going to reveal back to you what other people's intentions are, and it's going to reveal back to you what other people's goals are, and you're going to have to really determine for yourself whether these people's goals and where they're striving for really aligns with where you're striving for and where your emotions are. Because while the moon in Capricorn is debilitated, you want to consider your emotions this day. Not necessarily get too caught up in them, but definitely consider them. But also feel out your surroundings and feel out other people and situations and really figure out, is this really for my greater good? Are these people really going to help me come higher? This is when you really begin to figure out who's on the path with you and who's coming on the journey with you, and who, who might not. Who you might just have to, maybe give a phone call every now and again just to check up on them to make sure that they're cool. But who's actually going to walk this path with you? Who's actually going to come on the journey with you to create and manifest this life that's based off of your deepening sense of self-worth and self-value? Because as you can see, Sun is almost halfway through Taurus. So we're really manifesting this worth, this self-value. Okay? And that's really Friday. So as we shift into Cinco de Mayo, we have the moon beginning off, and it's going to trine Taurus. So this is really, we are feeling, if we're doing the work, and if we are putting one step in front of the other, then we are really going to start to feel this worth. We're going to start to feel this value that we are obtaining, this confidence that we are coming into. We're going to really begin to feel it more. Okay? Moon trining the sun. Then as it comes to 15 degrees, it's going to make a sextile to Neptune, which is going to add an element of mystical energy, perhaps a interesting synchronicity from the universe letting you know that you are on the right path. That's probably going to come, and that you really do believe in yourself. That's really what I see this as a message from the universe, and it could come via something material. Maybe a gift is given to you on this day, or it's just this confirmation from the universe that you are on the right track. Essentially, is really what's going to happen here. Okay. We also have, at the same time, this interesting quincunx that's happening between Mercury and Jupiter. And once again, we have Mercury in a cardinal fire sign, really wanting to push things forward, really wanting to communicate perhaps even new ideas. It's going to be communicating with this fixed water element in Jupiter. It's like, well, do we really feel we can expand upon this? Do we really feel we can expand upon this desire to want to communicate this thing? Because perhaps you might get some sort of idea on this day. But Jupiter is going to be really asking, like, well, can we expand on this? Can we build on this? You know? And there might be a little bit of frustration on this day, just because you do have all this Cap energy. So it's like the decision is almost going to be kind of weighed down. It's going to be really weighing upon whether we are actually doing the work, you know, whether we're actually putting one step in front of the other to really get things done. As I move this thing forward, I'm going to have the moon entering the conversation just as Mercury's coming off of it. The moon, our emotions are going to kind of catch up to our mind, and it's going to start to feel, in an earthly sense, how we are expanding. Okay, how we're expanding upon our desires, and it's also going to be coming into this conjunction very, very soon with Pluto, which, yeah. And now we have the moon squaring Mercury. So it's funny because our mind might feel a little restless because it's wanting to push things forward. That's why it comes off the conjunction, and then our emotions catch up. But by the time our emotions catch up to Jupiter, and then it's going to catch up to Mercury, and really we're going to have this communication between our emotions and our mind about, you know, the Mercury's like, Jupiter said that I had to wait, that I couldn't really move forward as fast as I want to, and that frustrates me. And then the moon's going to be like, well, that's just because this is how you feel based off of, you know, how I'm seeing things, how what's manifested, and how things have moved forward. So yes, we do have to consider that we can't just jump right into things, but what we do remember, what we can remember is that we have this ability to really transform this week in a powerful way that allows us to really move past any barriers that we have placed on ourselves before, based off of just this ideology of what we have placed on ourselves by society. I said that's so weird. I have no idea why that even came up like that. But anyways, there's this interesting square that we have between the moon and Capricorn and Mercury, where we have like this bit of restlessness. Mercury has just come out of shadow period, but our emotions are still like, well, let's kind of ground this reality. Let's kind of just ground this, you know, what we have come to know, and we'll get things forward. We'll move it forward, but we have to still feel out our situation, right? The moon, it's going to conjunct Pluto, which is really we're going to actually become emotionally aware of this transformation. We're going to become emotionally aware of the transformation that happened with the full moon. Is actually going to be made apparent to us via something physical, just something that happens really this day. We're going to become emotionally aware of it, and then we're going to want to take the steps to move forward. And then, as the day progresses, this is really more of a Sunday aspect, even though it happens really early in the morning. But we have the moon coming into its conjunction with Mars, which is we're going to start to feel the action that we need to take to really begin to move this thing forward, to move our life forward. And how we've transformed based off of this full moon, where we need to go, how do we deepen our sense of self-worth and self-value, what actions we really can take. You know, what's in line with the longer haul, what's in line with that deeper vision, okay? As you move this throughout, the moon comes off of that. Mercury has gone to 20 degrees, so it's officially in the 20s now. Then we're going to have the moon making this square now over to Uranus. So that's going to be interesting. Another quantum revelation before we really get into Aquarius, which is very interesting because Aquarius has to deal with the masses, right? It has to deal with other people and friends. So perhaps a coming of awareness into really who our tribe really is. You also have at the same time the Sun sextiling Neptune. So that's why I said that this day in particular is a pretty mystical day, because now that the moon has moved past Mars, we're going to know a little bit more about what actions we need to take, probably get this confirmation from the universe via the Sun and Neptune about really the direction that we really need to take and where to go. And the universe might throw us some interesting curveballs on Sunday, but it's really just going to be a reflection of really what we have manifested up to this point. Okay? And then this is really what I wanted to key you in on. That as the moon enters into the Aquarius, it's not much longer. I think it's actually towards the end of the day. We have Neptune actually moving a degree, which is very powerful, that the Sun and Neptune move at the same degree. So let's actually take that back a step, because I want you to see this. How they pretty much move at the same time, 15:15, move ahead an hour. So the Sun's going to be at 16 degrees for a couple of hours before Neptune shifts a degree. Anytime an outer planet like Neptune or Uranus or Pluto shifts a degrees, it's huge because they take so long to move. So the fact that Neptune shifts to 16 degrees is really massive, kind of further cementing the holiness of this day. And why is it holy? Because we also have this major shift right here. By the end of the day, we have, and really by the end of the day, bam, 11:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Where is Chiron? It is at 1 degree. This is the domino effect. That now that Chiron is shifted to 1 degree and it's off of this zero point, we are really beginning to heal who we are. We have the communication between the Sun and Neptune, this very spiritual connection that we have about manifesting our value based off of really our deepening sense of spirituality. The moon's going to be in Aquarius, so your guides are really going to be talking to you heavily this day. I really do feel that way. And the North Node's even starting to come into a quincunx with Saturn. So, and the Sun is soon actually going to oppose Jupiter. So this is really mystical. This is really a magical week, a tale of 2 weeks, where the first half of the week, like I said, it's kind of emotionally processing the full moon. You have the intermission, and then the second half of the week that's kind of marked by a little bit of restlessness, but also what I like to think of it as strategic emotional planning to really prep ourselves for the life that we're about to birth. It's almost like it's going to sound weird, but it's almost like we're kind of like dilating, and we're getting ready to really birth this new consciousness and this new reality. So we have to prep for it, you know. We might need an epidural here. I don't know why that came up. That's just kind of what I was feeling. But this is really a magical week where by the end of it, and Chiron has shifted this 1 degree, this first degree of Aries is being healed. And it's really going to set off this domino effect all the way around, which has already technically happened, but now that Chiron is shifted, that first domino has fallen. And then it's going to really just kind of catch all the way back up. But this is a very powerful week of emotional processing, emotional healing, and really this emotional clearance to move into a new life, to move into a life that is more abundant, that's more in line with who we are becoming. But you have to put in the hard work this week. Take one step in front of the other, take it day by day, and realize that you are worthy of all that abundance. And that is really the week. I'm surprised because I did not think that I was going to go this long on the weekly, but it just so happens to be that way. I'm going to draw, of course, 3 cards, the color card, the intention card, and the animal messenger card, and then we will get out of this video. But I hope you all have enjoyed it so far. And just know that no matter what wasn't covered during this full moon and just kind of how you're processing that this week, know that we all have these depths to us, and we all have this darkness, and we all have these things that we have tried to hide from ourselves. And there might be some fear when it comes to really expressing who we truly are. But Chiron shifting to the first degree of Aries by the end of the week is really cementing this truth that we don't have to be afraid to be who we are. And in fact, that being who we are is really what's going to heal us. We have the color card right here. Then I'm going to draw the intention card. Okay, that card just kind of popped out. I also want to thank all of my new subscribers that have just come onto the channel. Welcome to the Aquarian Adepts. I'm really happy to have you here, and just really want to say that, you know, I can definitely see that my channel is growing and evolving, and I've been at this thing for a while, and I've tried many different types of channels, but I am glad that I'm settling into my groove here with doing these videos. So thank you so much if you are a recent subscriber. Thank you so much. I love you, appreciate you, and I promise I will continue to bring you high vibrational and quality content. So we have, wow, this is amazing. We had the Six of Wands for the attention card. So this is really arriving at the new you. This is arriving at that refreshed you, arriving at that more powerful you. We have this character riding on horseback, and he's being greeted by the town, like, welcome back. And this is almost kind of like the real you, the true you, has always been there. We just, sometimes we get away from it and we forget. But this is going to be a week where really, especially if you watch my weekly SOAR video, which I highly recommend, is that by tapping into your own unique way of connecting to spirit and source, you will not be guided wrong. And you're almost going to feel like this part of you returning back. And there's going to be a bit of a celebration because of that. There's going to be a bit of a, almost like even like a relief, like, oh my goodness, you're going to like reclaim this part of yourself that really feels more abundant, that feels more successful. Of course, success is really determined by you. So I felt like success is almost going to be like kind of really be redefined this week based off of the individual. But you're definitely going to be coming into this week with the intention of arriving, success, really appreciating who you really are. The color card we actually have is Lilac. This is perfect. This is talking about strengthening your faith. This is a week, especially with the moon being in Sagittarius for part of the week, this is really a week about strengthening your faith. Strengthening that, you know what, you probably have been working towards your passions and your goals, but it just feels like it's just a little bit out of reach. That the light that you're trying to create is just a little bit out of reach, just a little bit out of reach. I'm telling you this week, what you want to do is just to keep moving forward. Keep moving forward and have the faith that everything is working out in your favor. We have the water buffalo, which is a totem animal of Libra, actually. Face life head on with courage and reclaim the brave spirit within you. Perfect. Perfect for this week. Face life head on with courage and reclaim the brave spirit within you. This week you want to go into it and really go into it head on. And you really want to you want to really tap into that faith. You want to really tap into the strength and the courage that it takes to really continue to walk your path. Because if you really do that and you reclaim that brave spirit, which is the Six of Wands actually, this is that brave spirit kind of coming back and telling you, it's like, hey, you can do this. You absolutely can do this. Why? Because you already have. We're just playing the catch-up effect in this life. So face life head on this week. Continue to move forward. This is a week where we don't have a lot of major aspects. It's mostly the moon. It's really going to be a week of processing and really planning and kind of strategizing how we're going to move forward. So utilize this week, utilize this energy and this power, and remember to have faith and to trust that everything is working out in your favor. I believe in you. Your guides believe in you. Source believes in you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here right now. And that is your weekly astrological reading. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If you would like a personal reading with me, you can always follow the link below to the Aquarian Adepts. I recently I've kind of switched it up. I actually have my YouTube videos now appearing on there. Also, if you are on Facebook, come check me out. My link is in the description below to the Aquarian Adepts. I'm going to start doing a daily tarot reflection on there as well. So that's like another thing that you can kind of, keep up to date with me, and just something else to really help you throughout your day to really, develop those good vibrations. I want to say to keep those high vibrations, but you can't always stay in a high vibration. We need to experience the highs and the lows, but also really appreciate all of the beautiful colors and facets of life. Appreciate the flow of this life. But yes, of course, remaining positive and to really grow this vibration, You can't always say high, but you definitely want to grow. You almost want to make your baseline higher, to get that baseline vibration higher and higher. That's actually really what I see this week as. It's like getting your baseline vibration higher. I think that's the theme. Anyways, like I said, thank you so much for joining me. You all go out there and have an amazing, beautiful, positive week. I believe in you all, and I definitely hope that you believe in yourself. And of course, my beautiful brothers and sisters, always remember that you are able, beautiful, creative, divine, and oh so energetic. And always, of course, remember, you thought I forgot about this, but I didn't, to keep moving forward, to stay focused, and Yahoo! Smile often.